You know that moment when you almost stop asking for help altogether? Not because you don't need it, but because every time you reach out in the past, you were met with silence, excuses, or half hearted responses that made you feel like you were asking for too much. You start telling yourself, it's fine, I'll just handle it, even when you're exhausted. And over time, you get used to being the one who shows up for everyone else while quietly carrying things on your own. What's strange is, you don't even expect support anymore. You've adjusted to the absence of it. And maybe recently, you caught yourself thinking, is this just how it's going to be? It's frustrating in a very specific way, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet disappointment that builds over time. You remember times when you were there for people without hesitation. You gave your time, your energy, your attention. And when you needed something back, even something small, it suddenly became complicated for them. They were busy, they had something going on, or worse, they acted like your request was inconvenient. And after enough of those moments, you stopped asking. Not because you didn't deserve support, but because you got tired of being let down. What you don't always realize is how much that changes you. You become more independent, yes, but also more guarded. You start questioning people's intention before they even speak. You hesitate to trust kindness because you've seen how easily people say, I've got you, without meaning it. And at some point, you begin to believe that real support, the kind that actually shows up, that actually helps, just isn't something you get to experience. Like it's something reserved for other people, not you. But here's the shift that's happening. Whether you fully notice it yet or not, you're starting to become more honest with yourself about what you need, not what you can tolerate, not what you've learned to live without, what you actually need. And that clarity changes everything. Because once you stop pretending you're okay with less, you stop accepting less. You don't chase people the same way. You don't overextend yourself just to feel valued. You start paying attention to actions, not words. And that alone begins to filter out a lot of the wrong energy around you. And something else happens too. You become easier to recognize to the right people, not because you're trying harder, but because you're clearer. Your boundaries are quieter, but stronger. Your energy isn't scattered anymore. You're not trying to prove yourself or earn basic respect. And that makes a difference. Because the kind of support you've been missing doesn't come from people who need to be convinced of your worth. It comes from people who recognize it without efforts. You've probably seen glimpses of this already. Small moments where someone surprised you. Maybe they followed through without being asked twice. Maybe they offered something without expecting anything in return. And it caught you off guard. Because you weren't used to it. You almost didn't know how to respond. That hesitation, that disbelief, it's not because something is wrong. It's because you've spent so long adjusted to inconsistency that constantly feels unfamiliar. The important thing now is not to miss what's different. Because sometimes, when you've been let down enough, you can accidentally push away the very thing you've been needing. Not on purpose, just out of habit. You question it, you overanalyze it, you wait for it to disappear like everything else did before. But not everything is the same. And not everyone operates the same place. There are people who don't just say they care, they show it constantly in ways that don't feel forced or transactional. And when that kind of support enters your life, it doesn't feel loud or overwhelming. It feels steady. It feels real. It feels like relief more than excitement. Like you can finally exhale a little. Like you don't have to carry everything by yourself anymore. And the truth is, you were never meant to. Being strong doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means knowing when something or someone is actually right for you and allowing it in without sabotaging it. This doesn't mean suddenly depending on people or losing your independence. It means learning the difference between isolation and self respect. You've already proven you can stand on your own. That's not in question anymore. What's changing is your willingness to let the right kind of support exit in your life without questioning whether you deserve it. Because you do. Not because you've suffered enough or waited long enough, but because it was never something you were supposed to go without in the first place. And yes, there will always be people who don't understand it, who suddenly feel uncomfortable when they see you receiving real support. But that's not your concern anymore. You're not here to manage their reactions. You're here to recognize what's real when it shows up and not shrink away from it just because it's unfamiliar. So if things have felt different lately, if you notice small changes in how people treat you or in how you respond to them, pay attention to that. Don't rush it. Don't overthink it. Just notice it. Because sometimes the biggest changes don't come in dramatic moments. They come quietly through people who show up differently than what you're used to. And this time, instead of assuming it won't last, you allow yourself to experience it fully. You've carried enough on your own to know the difference now. And when the right kind of support finally meets you where you are, you won't have to force anything. It will feel natural, it will feel steady, and for once, it won't feel like you're the only one holding everything together.